Everything you need to know about the Vigo Dem Party. So sit back, relax, and watch from anywhere. Get ready for a chat with a chair.
I'm Joe Etling, Chair of the Vigo County Democratic Party. Welcome to the award-winning Chat with the Chair. We're glad you could join us. We want to remind everybody we've got some big events coming up, including Wabash Valley Building Trades and the Vigo County Democratic Party are co-sponsoring a clay shoot that is going to take place on Friday, October the 8th. We hope that you can join us. If you're interested, please give us a call or contact us through Facebook or through our website. We'd love you to join us. It's on Friday, October the 8th. All proceeds are going to go to a local charity, but we appreciate our friends in the building trades joining with us. In fact, we had an opportunity to go out and see our good friends associated with the Indiana Brotherhood of Electrical Workers and saw all the great men and women that were recognized for their many years of service, and congratulations to all of them. We appreciate all the great work they're doing in union work throughout the Wabash Valley, and congratulations to everybody that was honored at that beautiful awards dinner at Holman Center. Speaking of Holman Center, we have got somebody with us here that you're going to be delighted to hear about and to see and chat and visit with us. And here he is. Remind our viewers who you are.
Leroy Staley.
Leroy Staley, the one and only Leroy Staley. Leroy, tell our viewers a little bit about your background.
Well, I grew up in Tampa, Florida. Went to Florida College, Jefferson High School, and just was a good baseball player. I was a better baseball player than basketball, but just grew up in Tampa, just, was living my best life with my parents that raised me well.
That's great. So where did we go to high school in Tampa?
Jefferson High School.
Home of the
Dragons.
The Dragons. We're big into mascots here on the chat, Leroy. Yeah. So the Dragons. We have not had a dragon yet. We've had a lot of lions and tigers and bears. Oh my! But we have not had dragons. I mean, so that's a first.
Oh yeah.
Has they always been the Dragons to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Wow, that must have been quite a scary mascot you had out there.
Well, we were pretty scary on the court too.
I bet you were. Well, now we heard a little bit in our pre-production that you might also have been a little bit of a tennis player too.
Yeah, played a little bit of tennis. Growing up, took some classes and just kept me in shape. That's what it did.
You were a multi-athletic guy then, but we were fortunate enough that you somehow found your way from Tampa, Florida up to Terre Haute, Indiana. Let's talk about that journey.
Okay. Well, technically I left high school, went to Florida College for 2 years when they were a junior college, and had some great years there, and went to the state tournament twice in junior college. And fortunate enough, Hugh Themler, which was coaching at Edison Community College, was the key instructor in getting me here to Indiana State.
Is that right?
Yes. And
did he have some ties to Indiana State or Terre Haute?
Yeah, well, his son was here, Terry Themler.
There you go. What was Terry doing at the university at that time?
I think he was assistant coach, student assistant at the time.
So talk about then the process to get from Florida to Terre Haute at that time.
Oh, well, that was the reason that I got here, because Coach Themler talked to Coach King, and the next thing I know, Coach King was at my house and speaking to my parents, and definitely was a shoe-in for me, because out of all the coaches that ever came to talk to me, they never came to my house.
Is that right?
But they did. And then I think about 2-3 weeks later, Coach Hodges came to my parents' house and explained everything to them, and I was dead set on coming here.
That's awesome. So you mentioned a couple names well known in the Indiana State basketball circles. Coach Bob King, who was the head coach, and then due to some health problems, Coach Bill Hodges stepped in for him. Let's talk about those two gentlemen a little bit.
Oh, Coach King was oh my goodness, straight up hard-nosed coach. He was a great teacher.
Is that right?
He actually improved my defense and made me a better player, because there was things that I wasn't doing that he taught me how to do, and I never stopped doing it.
That's
So
great.
that was a good thing. Coach Hodges was just a great person. He always believed in myself, and always tried to push me and make sure I was doing the right thing. But he was a great coach. I don't care what anybody say about him, but he kept us together, and especially with his staff, with Terry Thimble, Mel Daniels. I say Mel was a really big influence in my game because he pushed me probably the hardest.
Yeah, that was quite a staff they had at that time. Of course, you came into Indiana State sporting that number 44, and you were a guard/forward, I believe, all
Yes,
those years.
Yes.
Talk about your size and some of the traits that you carried that you brought onto the court at that time.
Well, I felt that I'm 6'5", could jump pretty well, and the things that I felt that I brought to the team was I knew I could score, but I knew my role. But I was probably one of the most hard-nosed guys on defense. It's like, put me on them, I'm trying to do my best to stop them.
Yeah, you definitely were that, and you're being a little modest. Now you could jump out of the gym, my recollection, and now are we sure we're 6'5"? I mean,
Yes.
because you seem like you were a big guard, but maybe a little bit of an undersized forward. But the way you played, nobody could ever tell that as hard as you played.
Well, actually, I had never played the guard position until I came here.
Is that right?
Yeah, I was a center forward swingman.
I see.
And when Coach King put me at the number 2 guard, that was a whole new learning experience.
Interesting. So really, throughout high school, you were playing maybe in the post sometimes,
Yes.
as well as power forward, and then transition to guard. So
Yes.
he must have obviously noted that athleticism, probably maybe that tennis background was helpful in that regard.
Well, he saw more in me than I did.
That's so important with coaching, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
So talk about when you got to Terre Haute, when they came to your house and visited you. How about when you came here and went to your new house down at Holman Center? What was that like?
Oh, that was just amazing. When I came on my house hunting trip and saw how many people were in the gym, I had never played in front of that many people, and I was like, wow, they really support the school.
Mhm.
And I knew with that type of support, it was something special. And it was really something special coming to Terre Haute because, you never heard about I'd never heard about Indiana State. But when I got here and just saw the community just come together, even before I got here, it was a big thing for me because the fact that, I always wanted to be one that make my family proud. And I think that's one of the things coming here, it made my family proud, and then the success that we had.
And I know how important academics was to you, so let's talk about that first and foremost. When you got here, what was your course of study then at Indiana State?
Industrial arts at the time, and I wanted to be a PE coach, PE teacher and a coach. That's what I wanted to do.
And we're going to talk about that career, but then you also had the opportunity to be a Division I athlete, so that combination of athletics and athletics had to be challenging at the time, particularly as much success as you guys had in both areas. Let's talk about that.
Well, I felt that with our team, there was no animosity on our team. We worked hard every day, and one of the things that I have to say, about Larry, Larry was always in the gym at least an hour before, working on his game or running, and even after he would do the same thing. But one of the things I loved about Larry is he never put us down or anything like that, and we just came together as a team and just surrounded ourselves with just really great talent that everybody knew their roles.
Now, this Larry guy you're talking about, do we know his last name? Or?
Yeah, Larry Bird.
Oh, Larry Bird, I see, okay. I think I saw a statue of him out there.
Oh,
in front
yeah.
of,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
So, of course, you arrived in Terre Haute, and those were some magic years. Let's talk about that. And if I'm not mistaken, they had a little moniker for the team. I think the Magnificent Seven, was that something that the team was known as?
Yeah, it was, our starting 7 players. We knew our starting 5, and then Bob Heaton and myself would come off the bench. So I don't know how it came up, but it came up as the Magnificent Seven.
Yes.
And I can remember going to the gym doing a taping, and we all had walked in with the cowboy hats.
Yes.
And I thought that was pretty cool.
It was cool. Those were some great times. And talk about the chemistry on that basketball team in particular, because obviously I think everybody knows and it's well documented the success that the team had, but maybe the inner workings and that chemistry, how important that is. So talk about that.
That's very important. Our team just came in and we were focused as soon as we hit the floor. And once we went into our drills, it wasn't no playing around. It wasn't no, not paying attention to the coach. We were focused. And, we took one game at a time. We took one day at a time to practice, to learn. And what they taught us, offense, defense, and how well they put it together, we didn't realize we had a game plan. We took one game at a time and played our hardest. And that's one of the things I say about our team. We were hard-nosed players that got along together.
And, we had talked, again, in our pre-production about things, and at that time, of course, there was no three-point line.
No.
And naturally, you had some tremendous athletes on that team and shooters. And what you think the three-point line might have done with that particular team?
I felt like if we'd had a three-point line, Larry would have probably averaged about 50 points a game. Carl would have averaged about 30. And I think everybody would have probably averaged a little bit more. But, as far as the places that Larry and Carl and Steve Reed shot, real deep, they would have been three-pointers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing what a different game it would have been. Of course, notwithstanding that, the team obviously, particularly in that 78-79 season, had some tremendous success. And, of course, that's been something well documented and chronicled throughout the Indiana State basketball history. Let's talk about that season a little bit.
Oh, that was just a tremendous season. That's something that's like a dream come true for all of us. And you just don't understand that, Bob Heaton hitting half-court shots. We had, Larry fouled out, Carl fouled out, and our team came together, even with some of the guys that was on the bench that really never really played, unless we was blowing somebody out. But they came together and worked hard. We ended up beating New Mexico State and beat Arkansas, on the last second shot. And again, the Miracle Man, hitting the last second shot and just pushing us to get to a higher level. And then we knew that we had to stay focused throughout the whole season.
Now, the game you were talking about, Bob, Heaton hitting the half-court shot, that was down in New Mexico State. And back in those days, they were not only having a contingent of people following the Sycamores, but they were broadcasting those games on WTHI, and Bob Forbes on the call. And talk about that game. I think there might have been some homework jobs going on with the calls that got Larry fouled out of that game. I bet Coach had a few choice words for the officials in that game.
Well, I don't know what he said to the officials or anything, but all I know is we had a job to do.
That's it. So let's talk about even that last play, what was going on. I know that New Mexico State was at the free throw line, and Sycamores are down by 2, so tell our viewers what happened there.
Well, people may not think, but actually Coach Hodges called the play.
Really?
He said if he missed it, we get the rebound, Bobby went out, we got the ball to him, and when he put it up, we believed in everything he did from that point.
Well, just like he drew it up, so Coach Hodges drew it up to perfection.
Yeah.
Of course, if that had been a three-pointer back in the day, they'd have won the game on the spot, but the Sycamores still came in overtime and won that game, and then, like you said, went on to a magical season. So was there anything in particular, or is there a particular game, event, situation that occurred during that season that stands out above all the others in your mind?
I would have to say all of them.
Okay.
But one specific game, I would have to say Arkansas and DePaul. When we played them, we knew they had good players. And we had to really lock down a lot of players. Like Sidney Moncrief, I've had to guard him. And I tell you, how can you guard somebody that you can't tell which way their feet are going? But a lot of those teams, we just played hard, did what we could, and we wanted to win.
You had some, and those were in the NCAA tournament, those games. Mark Wire was
Yes.
star for DePaul at that time, and of course Arkansas, tremendous team. And again, the NCAA tournament being at that kind of a level had to be a true exciting experience for you and your teammates.
Yeah, it was very much a dream come true, and our hard work told a bigger story, and we stayed focused throughout the whole year. And we've had some letdowns, but we always picked that back up because we always came back to practice, didn't look back, and we just kept moving forward.
Always talking about, your parents and coaches always talk to young people about taking things away from athletics and sports to carry on their future life. What would be the thing that you said you took away from that season that you might pass on to our viewers and their young people who are participating in sports from a learning standpoint?
The biggest thing is your grades. You gotta keep your grades up. That's the number one thing. But everything after that, you just have to, listen to the coaches, listen to your parents, do the right thing, and work hard in practice. And matter of fact, before you even get to that point, you should be out on the basketball goal by yourself, learning new moves, learning things that you're weak at. Because I was not a very good left-hand, could make left-hand layups, but I got out and I just kept practicing, and I realized in high school that I understood what I was doing for the right to move on. So it actually improved my game a lot.
So that skill work is so important, and
Yes.
sometimes that gets overlooked these days, doesn't it?
Yes.
Well, that's a great lesson. Of course, back in those days, you were talking about all the enthusiasm from the community. Talk about that back in those seasons when you were playing at Indiana State, the enthusiasm in the community that existed.
Oh, the community was just unreal. For somebody to be sitting out in the cold, wait for us to come out to play, and before they opened the doors, you had people running in. And I remember seeing some of the footage of people coming in, how fast they had it. It was just amazing with the community, the student body, just rallied together and just supported us, to the utmost. You couldn't ask for anything better than that for Terre Haute.
Yeah, and there was over 10,000 people at Holman Center every game, and throwing toilet paper and confetti. It was quite an environment, wasn't it?
Yeah, because I wasn't used to snow, and then when you see all the toilet paper going around, you think, okay, well, it looks like snow to me. But
That's
it was
true.
just a lot of fun.
Yeah, and of course, a lot of attention, a lot of media was in, and I'm just curious now that you've come on the chat, and we really appreciate you being here. Back in the day, I remember Captain Jack had a local show. Remember Captain Jack?
Yeah, I remember Captain
I think you
Jack.
appeared on Captain Jack. Am I right about that?
I don't think I was on that one.
You don't?
No, I think I had a
Conflict?
class.
You had a conflict?
Class that night.
So some of your teammates went in and
Yeah,
appeared
yeah.
on Captain Jack. So now this is perfect. Since you missed out on the opportunity with Captain Jack, you're now with Chatting with the Chair. So Larry and those other guys, they got on Captain Jack. Now you're making up. So Larry, we got to get you in here to chat just to keep up with Leroy now. So of course, probably the question everybody wants to know, they always want to know what's it like playing with, it's a natural question, and so that's what we do here on the Meet on the Award-winning show. We come up with the questions everybody wants to know. So what was it like to play with Brad Miley?
Oh, it was great. It was great playing with Brad. Brad had some unique skills.
Okay.
Brad was a great rebounder, good passer. When he caught the ball, he would score. He played great defense. Wasn't much of an outside shooter, but he would kill you inside.
Is that right?
So if he got rebounds, he was putting it back in, getting passes from Larry, calling any of the players and putting it back in. And that's what we needed.
I think he might still hold the record in Indiana high school basketball, most number of rebounds in a game, perhaps. He was renowned for his rebounding. And of course, at that time, it's interesting, you did have a fair number of Indiana players, that had gone to Indiana high schools and grown up in Indiana that you were meshing with.
Yes.
Talk about them and that whole experience with regard to Indiana basketball and the importance of it as that kind of was reflected on you?
Well, what I saw was good teammates that worked hard together. I'm surprised we didn't have more fights on our team, but we fought, for positions, and we did our best, learned everything that you needed to learn. But again, the coaches made the final decision, who was going to be starting, who was going to be coming off the bench. And I think with that in itself, because we really didn't know until, the starting five came out, and then Heaton and myself being, sixth and seventh man coming off the bench. And it was just that we just did not look at anything negative. We might miss a shot, but we went back on defense and made up for it to get the ball back and shut somebody down so we can outscore them.
So when you see the listing of greatest NBA players of all time, of course, Larry Bird is on that list, on that short list. So talk about, though, your experiences with him and of course, the collegiate level, at the very highest level. Talk about interacting and playing with Larry Bird.
Playing with Larry was unique for me. His ability, I always say he had a radar in the back of his head for the basketball. Because it's like when he shot, he knew where if it was going in. He knew if he missed it, he could go back in and get the rebounds. He was a great passer. You always had to keep your hands up, because if not, between him and Carl and Steve, you get hit in the head with the ball. But playing with Larry was great because he pushed us, and that's what we needed. We needed to be pushed. And the coaches pushed us and supported what we did. And if we did something wrong, they would actually literally come and tell us and straighten it out, and we straightened it out right then and there.
What would you say the greatest thing you learned from Larry Bird?
To shoot the ball.
Okay.
Because he sometimes Larry got tired of shooting. And I can remember we were playing Wichita State, and I can remember Larry whispering, "Man, shoot the ball." And I did. And next thing I know, I scored 14 points playing against them, and we beat them. And but it was just one of those things. We knew when Larry was hot, get him the ball.
Absolutely.
We knew when Carl was hot, get him the ball. Steve was not one to shoot all the time, but even when Steve shot, Steve was a heck of a shooter.
Absolutely. Out of Warsaw, Indiana, I believe, right?
Yes, yes.
There we go. So let's talk about what Leroy Staley taught Larry Bird, you think?
Being a friend. I would say being a friend, and supporting, everything he did. And again, we played great together. That's how I have to put it, because we played great as a team together. I mean, with passing, defense, rebounding. We had the makings. I think we could have beat some NBA teams.
Absolutely. Well, it looks like you could still play, Leroy. Let's talk, though, about your post-Indiana State career, and you've had a distinguished career. Talk about what's been going on with Leroy Staley over the years.
Well, I went to work at Terre Haute Penitentiary and started there with the federal prison in recreation. And I worked myself up to being a supervisor of recreation and moved around to different places like Oklahoma, Louisiana. I went back to Oklahoma, then ended up in Mississippi my last 10 years. So I had a great career working with the federal government in correction and being a recreation supervisor. That was my lifelong dream. Even though I didn't coach at the time, but again, I felt like I was changing people's lives.
And you had a big impact on a lot of people who were obviously in less than ideal situations, and you had some big jobs and over a lot of territory. So talk about that.
Wow. I had a lot of guys come in that were professional players. I had guys that came in that had no skills or talent, but you have to be able to get them to get out of the dorms and be able to get involved in programs and find their niche and what they wanted to do to make themselves better. Because all of my philosophy is, they come in out of a bad situation, but I always want them going out in a better situation.
And of course, your personality helped you, but I know that your background in athletics and all the success you had sure gave you a lot of credibility with those people. So talk about that.
That's the funny part. Every institution I went to, whenever it came around March Madness, I had inmates come, Mr. Staley, was that you, number 44? Yeah, that was me. And I think that in itself, those guys had a lot of respect for me, and they listened to what I had to say about my programs, because everybody had to go through admission and orientation, and I would always try to encourage them to get involved in programs.
You're a great ambassador for Indiana State University, both from an athletic standpoint and an academic standpoint. We appreciate you coming to the chat. What are you in Terre Haute for these past few days?
Well, I came up for a memorial with Gary Modest's son-in-law passing away, and I had a chance to really spend some time with him in Fort Myers, Florida, and I think it was Gary's birthday, and really had a chance to get to know him. And it's unfortunate, you know, he passed away, but, you know, to support the family, I came up for that. And then I turned around and extended my stay and was able to, oh my God, enjoy the football game, tailgating, visiting with friends that I have not seen, and I'm not on a schedule this time.
That's good.
Yeah.
And also out supporting the basketball program.
Oh yeah. I tell you, you're gonna have a good team this year.
That's great.
I see a lot of good things that can happen for Terre Haute, but you know, I just hope the community, you know, just embrace them to be able to come out and support the basketball team.
Now, Leroy, I've seen you at some events here the last couple of days. Again, you're kind enough to assist the basketball program, an event they had, and then out supporting the football program. That was great. And I couldn't help but notice the people coming up to you, and people that may have been a lot younger when you were playing, and then that may have been a little older. But the interaction they had and the joy they had reminiscing with you. Talk about that the people, how they respond to you now when you come back.
It's amazing. The people really supported us, and they still remember those days. And us being players, we don't get the outside part of it.
Right.
But it's like now I'm getting so many stories about how people supported us, how, you know, games that we played, what we did, how hard we worked. And the thing that gets me is the fact that they remember me, who I am, because I've always felt I was just basically a nobody. And but coming here made me somebody that my family respect, I respect them, and I respect the community. And it's just amazing, you know, how God just kind of leads your path with things.
Well, you're definitely a somebody, and again, there's no question, and as I said, those interactions I've seen you have with people, it's just to see them a smile on their face, thinking back to those times. That was such a memorable time for people's lives, and as I said, some of those people were in elementary school and others were professionals or in their professional careers at that time, but nonetheless really brings them back to some fond times in their lives, and that's got to be a good feeling for you, knowing that you're such a big part of that.
It is, very much so, because, you know, we come back for, you know, the reunions, but coming back this time was very special for me because I wasn't on a schedule, and I've seen so many people that remember all the good things that we did, you know, and how they rallied around us. And just seeing a lot of people I have not seen in over 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
That was a big thing for me. And the connections with my hometown, because you have staff here at Indiana State that's from my hometown.
Wow.
And it just really make you, overall, it feels really great, and it make you understand your life and, you know, how you walk around, and, you know, and still know that people still care and they still love you.
And they do that, and it's great. I know that the administration's got to be tickled about what a great ambassador you are, and I know that the coaches, and particularly the head basketball coach, think so much of the fact that you are an ambassador for them as well. And in talking to some of the players, and we had a chance to visit with somebody that was with a player, and they talked about the fact they got to meet Leroy Staley. So that's got to be a good feeling, and I know you've had an opportunity to observe them. So telling our viewers they're looking forward to a good season at Holman Center this year.
Oh yeah, I think they're going to be really surprised with what they're going to see this year.
That's great. We hope we get Leroy Staley back in Home and Center to watch some of those games. So talk to our viewers real quickly about the future for Leroy Staley. What's on the horizon for you, Leroy?
My horizon is basically getting up in the morning playing pickleball.
Is that right?
Yeah, I'm retired, living my best life in Florida, and visiting my family, hanging with my friends, and just enjoying life now.
That's
And
great.
again, like I said, this trip was an amazing trip for me because I had a chance to see a lot of people that meant a lot to me, and I meant a lot to them.
What kind of pickleball player are you?
Pretty good.
So one last word for our viewers. What message would you send to our viewers here, Leroy?
Well, I would say, support your team, support yourselves, and let's try to get these guys back, to the top-notch NCAA Final Four, final game, and heck, they can even win a championship.
Absolutely. You got to believe. You got to believe, right?
Yes.
Let's pack that Home and Center. Well, we absolutely are tickled that you came and joined us. This has been a true delight and strolling down memory lane. And of course, those of you who tuned in, if you like what you're seeing here, we hope you share it with other people and you like us so that we get more people involved. But hopefully, if you see Leroy Staley around Terre Haute, you stop and chat with him. He's a true delight. Got a great personality, and Indiana State's lucky to have him. And Leroy, we thank you for coming in here.
Thank you.
And it's always great to see you. So till our next chat with the chair, I'm Joe Etling. Thanks for joining us. Have a great rest of your week.
DEMOCRATIC. Everything you need to know about the Vigo Dem party. So sit back, relax, and watch.